All right, and welcome back. We're finishing up the week. Just so you guys know, today there will be a lesson and a brief It's Learning assignment, and then tomorrow is catch-up day for you. So you can either get Delta Math done from the beginning of the week or the It's Learning assignment done, or if you haven't finished one of the chapter tests, please make sure you do that. So today we're going to take a closer look at isosceles triangles. So if you remember from yesterday, isosceles triangles are when we have a triangle that has two sides that are congruent. Okay? And if two sides are congruent, then the angles opposite them are also congruent. That's our base angle theorem. Okay, so what I mean by that, this side is congruent, we go opposite that. So if I come across, then we know this angle is also congruent. We go across, we know this angle is congruent. Okay, so I went across opposite both of those, and I see that these two angles are congruent. Likewise on this one, I'll go opposite, opposite, and I'll see that these two angles are congruent. Now the converse, so the other way around of this, is if two angles of a triangle are congruent, we know the sides opposite them are congruent. So here, it's the opposite way. We have two angles that are congruent. I can go across, so this side will be the same as this side. And vice versa, this side will be the same as this side. Okay, so, and that makes those isosceles. So anytime we have two angles that are the same, we also know it's an isosceles triangle. So down here, it's up to you if you draw these or not, but if we look here, A, B, or C, hopefully you can tell that of these, angle A and angle B would have to be the same because they are opposite the congruent sides. On our next one, it would be angle Y and angle Z. Now in number 3, E and F are marked, so we go opposite to segment DF or segment DE. Okay. Likewise, segment HG is the same as HI. And two more, this one will be angle L and angle K. And the final one, angle M and angle O. So go ahead now and take a look at this triangle here. It says find the value of x and y. So it's going to be easier on this one to solve for x first. Because of these marks, it's an isosceles triangle, and we know that the opposite angles are congruent. So if I mark that, that means these two are congruent, which means x has to be 46. At this point, I can just add those two angles together. And then I will take 180 minus that. And I'll get 88, and that is what y is going to be. Now be careful, it's not always the same which one you're finding first, x or y. We have to look based on where the marks are. So this one's isosceles because there are two marks that are the same. So we go across, so this one is the same as this one. So y we know is 63, which tells us now that if I add 63 plus 63, I'll get 126. I can take 180 minus that, and I will get 54, and that is my value of x. All right, so down here, number 9, this one's slightly different. X and y have to be, is what we're finding. Based on these marks, I can go opposite, and I know that this angle and this angle are the same. So x and y are going to be the same. We don't know what they are, but if they are the same, we can take 180 minus the 40 that's already there. We're left with 140. That has to be split between two angles, and it has to be split equally because they are the same. So divide that by 2, and x will equal 70. Y will equal 70. Just to double check, 70 plus 70 is 140, plus the original 40 does give us 180. All right, number 10. This one, no sides are marked. However, if we wanted to, we could mark this side and this side, but we don't even need to. We know that 180 is how much there is total. X and Y, once again, are the same. So we get 70. If we divide that by 2, we will get 35 for both x and y. All right. So now, here we have a little bit more complicated of a problem. 115 is an exterior angle. Okay, so we know, based on what we learned about exterior angles, that x plus y would equal 115. However, that still doesn't help us because there'd be two variables. Now, based on the fact that it's isosceles, I can put some marks in here. I know that this angle will be the same as angle x. So now, focus just on this area. If that's 115, we can figure out what that is because these two angles right here are called a linear pair. Okay? So if we take 180 minus that 115, we'll get 65 degrees. So I can put that right here. And because this was an isosceles triangle, we know that the opposite angles are the same. So x has to be 65 degrees. And now all I have to do to finish it out, 65 plus 65, that'll equal 130. And then we can take that away from 180, the total amount, and we're left with 50. So y will equal 50. Now just to double check, let's add those together because we said x plus y would equal 115. 50 plus 65 does equal 115, so we know we did it right. So I recommend maybe pause this for a minute so you can try this one, draw the picture and try this one on your own. So once again, it is isosceles, so I can know that this angle and this angle are the same. To find what the empty angle is, we take 180 minus 135, and we will get 45 degrees. Okay, if that's 45, we also know then that x is 45. Plus 45 equals 90. So then we take 180 minus that 90, and we get 90 degrees. So y is 90 degrees. Now, if we look at that, I actually think this picture is a little off, and it looks a little smaller than 90. So this is kind of a reminder. We need to go based on what is written on it. So since it tells us this is 135, we know that's for sure. These markings we can go by for sure. Sometimes the picture might be a little distorted, but go by the markings. So take a look now. We've got 2 left. On 13 here, it says find the value of n and m. So first, our 2 isosceles marks. That tells us that this angle and this angle are the same. So I can fill in a 68 degrees right there. Now, this will allow me to find this missing angle. So I can add 68 plus 68, and I'll get 136. Now, I take 180 minus the 136, and I get 44 degrees. That goes right here. Hopefully you're noticing this angle and this angle. Those are called vertical angles, which means they're the same. So we already know that m has to be 44 degrees. Now we can take 180 minus that 44, and we'll get 136. We know if n is in both of those angles, that means they're the same, which would tell us that this is a congruent, or that these is an isosceles triangle also. These sides are congruent. Now notice I put 2 marks there because we don't know how they compare to this side. We'll find out. And then if it's 136, that will tell us we can divide that by 2, and we are left with 68. So n will equal 68. All right, and our final one, it asks us to find all of the missing angles. So the easiest one here Those two have to be the same, which means this is 45 as well. Now, on this triangle, we know these are the same as each other. They don't have to be the same as the original one, so we can't put 45 in there, but we know they're the same as each other. This angle right here, I can take, it's a linear pair. So I'll do 180 minus 45 gives me 135. Now, if those two are the same, that leaves us with 45 left between them. So we can make 45 divided by 2, and we will get 22.5 degrees. So that 22.5 degrees will go in both of those spots. We got one angle left up here, and we have two angles here, 45 and 45. Let's add those together. 45 plus 45 is 90. And then we can take 180 minus that 90, and we are left with 90 degrees. So we know that angle is 90 degrees. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Let me know. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and make sure we're getting our work turned in so that we don't have zeros in the grade book. Bye.